Hi to all of the Ethereans there. So, this is the second episode of Mad Science. And in this episode, I want to like reply to most of the people who generally follow ETHEREANS Labs. And some comments I always receive is like, oh, why you're doing so much things, from organization to covenants to items and so on. And that's a good question. I mean, that everyone have, most of the people have. And so I'm here to reply to this question today. So what's actually our vision and why we moved into this way? So everyone who were really following ETHEREANS Labs since the beginning, since the FL Hub launch, they know that this project started as an R&D project, totally, and it still is actually. And we never invested too much in communication, marketing, and this kind of stuff because we always wanted to explore this vision we always had. Since the beginning, the vision of ETHEREANS Labs was to solve most of the issues we have into the DApp ecosystem. So I mean, for our opinion, we have Ethereum, which is the settlement layer to do stuff on chain, and people spend to use Ethereum, and that's a feature. This is what Web3 is. So total freedom, and you pay for the code you run. And so, based on this, we figured out, the killer app, the hard trend of the future of Web3 is to make things secure and less dependent from teams, governments, and this kind of stuff. Which, I mean, a lot of people are talking about these topics. I mean, in the last months after the tornado stuff, finally, I mean, during this bull market, there were crazy stuff. I mean, people should have to care more about the quality of the assets they buy and the community they use in general and the code they have behind. And I think this will be the next huge trend for the next years. And so why we are different from the whole ecospace? First of all, we worked since the beginning, not just to create a casual product that people can quickly use, gasless, and go, because we care about the future we always saw since the FL Hub. So people that can start to build real organization and organize themselves to build the future without need to trust each other and know each other. So no teams, doxed, and this kind of stuff, but not as it was during this bull market where they were not doxed, most of them, but they had full powers actually, and they scammed most of the people. I think privacy and maths on top of people is fundamental if you want to have a future of freedom, especially for governments. That the more the ecosystem will grow, the more they will try to uh, rule it and decide the future. And so we always build with the idea that, okay, so we are building these protocols, we are building these platforms, and they should work without need to rely on the team that use it, or it should be very, very easy to figure it out if this is like decentralized in terms of not owned or not, very easy for people. Because what we want to achieve is to having like the application layer which have the same level of security that the Ethereum layer have. And so people can use stuff without need to care about the teams that and their power or their like or their point of failure, which are governments or cultures and anything like into the abstract layer of development, which are people. So and this is our goal since the beginning, and this is why we are building like this whole ecosystem instead of just like one simple app. So let's start to talk more into like a pragmatic way. So why this ecosystem is so important? Because in our like for our point of view, like ETHEREANS is the foundation to start building on Ethereum. Is the thing that you need actually to care not on a lot of things, but just on your product we are building on. Because let's talk about what's happened. Yeah, sorry for the slide, but I'm like moving, so I try to do the slide as fast as possible. So let's talk about the problem that we have today on Ethereum. And I think that most of the FUD and hacks and people that get scammed is because of this at the end of the day. Because builders on Ethereum has plenty of distraction from what is their main goal, so their unique product, which is like, for example, should I develop and test my governance? And so also for users, when you so like a token, you don't know actually what is the governance. It's not easy to go deep into it, and it's not so easy to trust it actually. It's a huge cost of development if people want to like create a good governance, and most of the governance out there are just like a multi-signature wallet, and you just vote into a forum asking to dev to do what you vote, which I think is a security. It is nothing less than a security. It's actually a security, because I mean the utility of your token depends of they rely on the team actually in that case. So and I don't know if this is not a security. I don't know what it is, but by the way, let's go forward from this. Maybe we can have like an entire discussion about these things, and I think it can be very, very interesting in the future. And so also for users, they don't know what they can find behind, or so, or maybe like you build a governance, like an actual governance where people trigger things, and maybe there is a hack or something. For example, how we manage funds. So develop and test like funds management. How can I get the money to build all of the stuff? Or, for example, oh, we need a token, so we should like develop and test our token with our like liquidity strategies. And so we have to develop like the integration with Uniswap or different IMMs or like the NFTs. How can I how people can trust my governance. Oh, I have to build everything, like host like the interface, and how can I afford contracts audit? Because all of this, since governance, tokens, NFTs, if they have NFTs, DEX's integration like farming, they need like contracts audit because they are new contracts. Someone should audit, or and so also like the voting structure, governance rules, and these kind of things. They are very, very like very huge point of failure for an entire community or an entire project. And like the ownership, to manage the ownership from the protocol decision and the governance. And so all of these things together, they are a huge problem, both for builders and both for users. Because builders, they have all of this distraction to just, and with all of these things to build is around their real product, which is the core things they have to think about. And for users, these are all like fun things, and why they don't want to use Ethereum, why they don't want to use your DApp, or why they don't want to invest in your token, or why they don't want to participate in the governance, because the protocol can be wrecked from, I don't know, some point of failure between the connection from the protocol to the governance, or the token, or also like the voting structure, approving of your voting structure, the token can be like have bad things. Oh, farming, so maybe there is a hack on your farming contracts and all of these things. And so there is a lot of distraction for coders and also for users that they can lose their money. And so let's think about how these things are in the old way. So the Web 2, the real world, Silicon Valley stuff. If you have like a cool new product to build outside of Ethereum, just a regular startup in the Web 2 ecosystem, most of the startups, they just incorporate usually in Delaware, and they have like shares are standards. So they can just create different kind of shares, but they are all standardized by the government stuff. They have like article of incorporation, which is standard, and also like the BALO. And so all of their governance rules are standards, and they can decide how to empower them for their own use case. But they don't have to reinvent the governance standards since the beginning. They have like standards for private equity, and also they have markets. So they have the Dow, the NASDAQ, and private equity market. And so you already have the market, and you can integrate very quickly with the market if you need it. And also, like what made like the Silicon Valley very big was that all of this stuff, even legal contracts, they were totally standard. So you were able to focus on the product only. And also for VCs and investors, this was a huge stuff because they were able to invest based on the product, and all of the legal and financial stuff, they were just around, they were just standard. And this made them very, very lean to invest in like the future of humanity, actually. So it's totally the contrary for the situation we have on Ethereum. And so here is Ethereum OS, which is actually the foundation to start coding on Ethereum, to start building your own product. Because everything you need around of your product, you can just use our ecosystem, actually, which is like, I don't know, items for voting tokens. They are programmable assets, and you are 100% secure about what they are for both tokens, which are like fungible and non-fungible at the same time. And you can program like the ownership, you can program like different rules, and it's like 100% secure because they are controlled by the factory. You have guilds with all of the tools to govern an entire protocol into a granular way, which is amazing. It's not like real world governance that you have like this, like regular governance, and you have stocks and you can just vote. But here is like what computational governance can be. So like building very, very small pieces of governance with their own voting rule and their own incentive, which is the future of like governance. and for our opinion, also like the future of countries in this way. But we will talk later about this, maybe into like a conversation very into the governance. And also you have like the splitter, the root wallet, and you can manage your funds. Actually, you can manage with governance routines, like your like inflation strategy with like the Ethereum's OS, the OS token inflation strategy. Or you can build quickly like every trades or transfer, for example, to pay employees or to pay people that work on this project anonymously without need to trust each other, just with routines, which is another factor. You can just don't need to build your own stuff, but you just clone. Liquidity strategy with farming, with governance farming, you can go there and just build your liquidity strategy. With all of the tools we have, like in our governance, you can have like dividends, funds management, like an entire funds with the rules that people can vote, and obviously like governance, and so human coordination with this root layer governance to like build new stuff, and sub-DAOs granular governance to rule every single things into a different way, totally customizable. And also, if you want more, there is something that will be our app store. If you imagine like the Ethereum OS is like your iPhone or your Android to build your organization inside. So you have all of the apps you need, like governance, financial tools, items, so NFTs, tokens. You have your like, I don't know, funds management and everything. If you want more app, these will be factories, and people will build like infinite kind of apps that you can use actually in your governance with just a blink of an eye. So with just a click and a proposal. And so this will make building on Ethereum very similar to what was great into the real world. So everything secure, standardized, and it with zero assumptions. So every user that comes, they were just focused on, oh, I like this product. And they quickly can go to see the governance, can go to see how you manage funds, if they like it, if they want to be involved into this in a very simple way. And coders, they don't have to spend money and time with all of these things, which usually are more cost effective and time consuming than actually build their product in most of the cases. And that's crazy, actually. And so let's go for a second for what is like the standard stack of Ethereum. So the product is this one. So we have organizations, object on top of Ethereum that can be everything, since a voting token to NFTs that are also voting tokens or like game object, to all of the integration with DeFi, actually, and the App Store, so the factory of factories. Obviously, governance in a very cool way. Yeah, I usually use this these slides to talk, and I put Skippy for word because Ethereum OS just a lot of technical and cool stuff, and so I just try to do TLDR and not like try to go deep into it. But you have like the most advanced governance system ever made on Ethereum, which is the Ethereum OS governance guilds, which is the same we are using on OS, which is crazy, actually, with different layer of permission architecture, different layer of governance architecture that you can build realistically, like in the future, on top of this items. So you can use the same object as NFTs on ERC20, so you don't need to have like 2 tokens or these kind of things. And covenants. And so in a blink of an eye, you are secure and you go to use the finance layer of Ethereum, which are liquidity aggregator, which is actually most of the governance stuff will be related to fund management. So And so imagine like a futuristic journey of an Ethereum startups. So what's the first step? Just go to Ethereans and start your organization. And then we need some tokens or a token or unique tokens like NFTs to rule it. And so let's go to items and make it. And okay, and so you can come back to your organization and say, oh, this is the token for this decision, and attach it. And so from an organization that is host only because you just created it, you can say, we have only the root layer because we just created it, and but I don't want to rule it by my own. And so let's just add the token with this governance root layer I just created with items. And what's the next step? We need finance. And so let's add a splitter of the funds for like, 5 or 6 collaborators we have into building this project. And let's set up like a fixed inflation of the token with or an ICO and put into the splitter or into the treasury using Uniswap or I don't know, Balancer. And then let's start building. Oh, okay, we built like the first protocol. And so we can make like some sub-DAOs to rule like every piece of it with its own like rules. And then the second part piece of the protocol. And at the end of the day, you have like your organization with a lot of sub-DAOs that people can rule actually the protocol with them. And also the earnings are going to the splitter and people can rule like where the money goes, like with, I don't know, delegations, with grants to delegations, or having like an entire fund, like what we have in ETHEREANS. And at some point, you can say, we are making this project. And so we don't need to build new things. And so we can just go into maintenance mode as the root layer, so the layer where you vote to upgrade the protocol, and that's it. This will run for the next millions of years until the Ethereum network exists and all its forks. And so imagine how this is cool. You don't need to think about like building your own anything. And so that's the power of ETHEREANS, the foundation to start building on Ethereum. And obviously, when you build your product, you can say, oh, I like this factory is to interact with Maker to, okay, I can clone it by my own and add these things to my governance. So people can decide, I don't know, how much ETH every trimester or every month we have to put into MakerDAO and take in some DAI, and it's impossible. So that's the power of ETHEREANS. And so you are very, very focused into your product. And, you can really like if we think about how like audits cost and development cost on Ethereum, you can literally like spend, I know, especially in a startup moment, you can literally spend don't spend millions in like reinvent the wheel every single time, and also be more secure and easy for people to like look at your security. So that's very cool stuff. And obviously we are just in the beginning and there are tons of new things which are coming. So it's very, very more than this. But I can't like give you some hints about what's coming on. And so that is basically why we built all of these things, because we have this long-term vision that this is what the Ethereum ecosystem needs. And building just one of the things, I don't think it's made too much sense, because you have to integrate with other things. Because, okay, you start your organization, Oh, cool. And now uh, you need to swap funds, manage funds, or the token. Uh, and so to achieve our long-term goal, we needed to build all of these things together. And this will be like our killer application for the next year to come. And you will see sooner than you expected more about this, and especially how cool the new things that are coming are cool. And so, thank you to watch this like uh, event. And unfortunately, I will not be able to like be into like an MAA right after this event. But I think you can you can put all of your questions like in the comments here on YouTube, and also into Discord that I that we will open the audience chat for like an hour or like until tomorrow. And in early next week, like Monday or Tuesday, I will like do a special MAA into the Vitalik Buterin Theater to just reply to all of these questions. Uh, and so I hope you like it. I hope you like your vision, like our vision, and this is why we build all of the things, and we will continue to build more things that is coming. So, but I'm sure that after the next like big update, it will be very, very understandable for everyone. So don't worry, it will be easier to understand. So that's Ethereum Lab vision. That's Ethereum OS, and see you next.